Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hi everyone. Before you watch the next few Babble for Fives, we wanted to give you a quick update as to what you might be seeing on screen.
Yes. One of the main features of Season 3 for us has been learning how to use a new camera and all the settings that it has entailed, and that has led to a little bit of a learning curve for us, and there's a couple of things that have been a little not quite up to par in terms of quality in some of the episodes that you're going to watch in Season 3, unfortunately. We have since learned, we have gotten better, but you might see a little bit of graininess, a little bit of out of focus. You might see that we might not be playing as much with our cuts and whatnot. It might not be as fancy, but I promise you we'll get back to form, and we apologize for the error, and we hope you'll hang with us. Hello, I'm Charlene Schmidt.
I'm Patrick Schmidt.
We just got done watching Passing Through Gethsemane, Episode 4 of Season 3 of Babylon 5, and it is time to Babble for 5.
So what happened to the separation of church and station?
You said you had a really good opening line. That's lame. Now, that said, we've got a pretty interesting character here in Brother Edward. We're learning a little bit, not just about the work that he and Brother Theo are doing, but also that, I don't know, maybe he was a little bit of a serial killer in his past.
Yeah, well, it was really interesting to get that perspective on the other side of the personality wipe. There were so many moral quandaries that popped up in this episode. It was a lot of fun to explore. And of course, you see in this episode how that is being manipulated by the church to increase its ranks, which I think is kind of interesting.
But is it necessarily the church who's doing the manipulation here? Because let's think about this for a second.
No.
Aside from religious institutions, who is going to have enough power of forgiveness to actually give these people a chance?
Right. Other than putting them, on a construction crew as part of government work for the rest of their life, which I kind of thought was what they were doing. I kind of thought it was going to be all these people who have their personalities wiped, we're going to dedicate them to building roads and bridges and Babylon 6, all the things we know we need.
The things we will need once Babylon 5 finally throws in the towel.
Exactly. I figured that that's what was happening.
Well, maybe not everybody is going to a monastery or anything like that, but it does seem that the religious groups are taking a lot of these people in. What's really interesting about this episode is when it all goes wrong, and Brother Edward is provoked into remembering some things, and it's not so good. And Brad Dourif, who played Brother Edward, in his career, he's played a lot of psychopaths, killers. He's masterful at this. I mean, it certainly came through to me just all the feelings that boiled to the surface of his guilt.
And I think we see that later in Sheridan as well, where it's once he realizes its potential ramifications and he's wrestling with that, here's somebody he's working with saying, nope, this is good, and here's Trey Parker gonna continue the load.
The hair.
Mm-hmm. It was that kind of contradiction of, somebody who, like Sheridan, who hadn't thought it through. And now he's dealing with somebody who's thought about it day in and day out for years on end, saying, this helps me and helps my, for lack of a better term, bottom line. And you are going to have to kind of get over it because we're helping you.
Yeah. Also, I love the quote, where does revenge and injustice begin? Is there such a thing?
The justice and revenge angle is interesting, and one of the things I actually found more interesting was the debate about you can wipe the mind, but the stain stays on the soul. There was so much conversation about the soul in this episode. I think it's one of the emerging themes of the season so far.
So what do you think about the idea that the Minbari have where we are all kind of the universe made manifest, and we are the universe trying to figure itself out?
You always want to be questioning, you always want to be moving forward, and that you are part of something bigger, which I think is the core of every religion, right?
Sure, yeah.
And that we act the way we do because, not necessarily for us, but for all of us that's a theme that emerges no matter what planet you're on. And certainly in this show, no matter what religion you're starting to explore, it's a selfless thing.
One of the bigger themes of Babylon 5 in general is this idea that you want to belong to something that is bigger than just yourself. Religion can do that. Serving an Earth Force can do that. So we're all kind of looking for that purpose. We do want meaning in our lives.
To transition, how about serving Psychor or serving Kosh? Which one would you choose, Lyta?
Lyta made her choice.
Yes, she did. And we got to see some Vorlon sex because of it.
Is that what you think was happening at the end, this exchange of light?
Yep, they were exchanging something. So truth be told, right now at this point in the show, my favorite character, whatever you want to say, is Kosh.
Well, it has been for a while, right?
Yes, but now number 2 is Lyta.
Whoa, she quickly jumped up there.
Yeah, corrupt AF, Talia 2.0, not a bitch.
And we don't really know what is going on. I mean, obviously she has some sort of allegiance to Kosh.
Maybe that's why I like her, is because Kosh likes her.
And she is a rogue telepath. She's running from the Psychor, as Londo reminded us. So she's got that going for her to boot.
She's fighting against the cults. That's great. Let's call this a wrap on this episode.
Sounds good to me, because I've had enough of talking about Vorlon sex.
Well, and I've had enough for now, trying to run through all the ramifications of justice versus revenge. It makes my head hurt because it's a damn good question. So let's leave a thought in the comments. We would love to hear from you. If nothing else, if you liked what we were talking about here, even if you just like Babylon 5, if you like the fact that in 2019 people are still talking about Babylon 5, leave a like on this episode.
Heck to the yeah.
Thank you for being around, and we'll see you next week.